What's up, guys? Meowing, and I'm back with another video, and we got a reaction to do. That was one heck of a race, I gotta say. That Homestead race was definitely pretty much what I expected it to be. There weren't a ton of cautions. The only ones that we really saw aside from the stage cautions were, unfortunately, James Davison. His car had engine issues, and Corey LaJoie did as well. And then there was the Blaney Almirola crash. But aside from that, we really, some people are going to think this was a boring race, especially the finish. But quite honestly, I really enjoyed watching this because, well, we'll get into that here in a minute. So pre-race, Corey LaJoie, James Davison, Alex Bowman, and then a little later on, Denny Hamlin all got sent to the rear of the field. LaJoie, Bowman, and Hamlin for unapproved adjustments, and Davison because he failed inspection. We had a competition caution lap 25. Brad Keselowski was in the lead for a good portion of stage 1. But then how about this? Chris Buescher, he gets the lead with 27 to go. I was shocked, honestly. Like where the fuck did this come from? Like, huge props to Chris Buescher for getting up there and battling for the lead. And he not only led like a few laps, he led for several laps in stage 1. Caution would come out for James Davison, blowing an engine. Some guys pit and whatnot, and he still comes out first off pit road. And Buescher would end up taking the stage 1 victory. Brad Keselowski second, Martin Truex Jr. third, William Byron fourth, Alex Bowman fifth, Kyle Larson sixth, Joey Logano seventh, Chase Elliott eighth, Kurt Busch ninth, and Austin Dillon 10th. So we had all 4 Hendrick cars in the top 10. That was awesome to see. Then we get to stage 2, and Chris Buescher, he gets a bit of a challenge from Chase Elliott early in the stage, and then holds on to the lead for a good portion of it. Then we get to some green flag pit stops, and Martin Truex Jr. would assume the lead. And then with 7 laps to go, the 7 car of Corey LaJoie unfortunately drops some fluid and also has an engine issue, so caution comes out for that. And then we get a 1 lap run to the finish for the end of the stage, and I guess I missed it, but it looks like Hamlin might have blocked Truex Jr. or something. But William Byron comes out and he takes the stage victory. Hamlin second, Kurt Busch third, Martin Truex Jr. fourth, Kyle Larson fifth, Chris Buescher in sixth, Kevin Harvick 7th, Ryan Blaney 8th, Alex Bowman 9th, Brad Keselowski in 10th. Several cars stayed out, others pitted, and Martin Truex Jr. was the first car that came off pit road, would be 17th on the restart behind the guys that stayed out. William Byron gets the early lead in stage 3, and then the caution would come out a little while later. Eric Almirola, Ryan Blaney. Almirola slid up into Blaney. He wasn't clear, and they both got in the wall. Blaney got a flat tire out of it as well. So we get some pit stops, and Denny Hamlin gets busted for speeding. So he gets into the back, and then we get to the restart. Again, not a ton happened in terms of things to talk about, but there was a lot of passing. There was a lot of lead changes. There were guys all over the place in this race. Like some that were towards the front and then dropped back, others that were towards the back and moved up front. I mean, Chase Briscoe was 2 laps down at one point, and he recovered quite nicely. You had some guys that, like Harvick and Elliott and Logano, Hamlin obviously, who were stuck back in the 20s. And again, guys like Buescher and Newman and Reddick and Custer and some other ones that were fighting up in the top 5 and 10. Daniel Suarez was in the top. Oh, my apologies. Daniel Suarez was up in the top 15 for a little bit at one point. It was a really good race, and it may not have provided as much in terms of intensity, but it was still a really good race. There were some moments that could have been wrecks, moments where it's like, somebody trying to go for a hole that's not there, which seems to happen. They fan out a lot when it comes to Homestead. And so, there was just a lot to watch. And going into the restart, William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, they duke it out for the lead for a little bit. Byron gets the lead off the restart, or after that, and then he just dominates the rest of the stage. Kurt Busch, unfortunately, had to pit with a vibration, so sucks for him. He was having a really good run. Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski would pit at one point for tires and to get some more fuel just in case. That gamble did not pay off. Eric Jones pitted at one point as well. Byron ends up winning this race. But it was fun to watch Tyler Reddick, though. He was moving. He was moving up through the field. He ended up getting all the way up to second. Funny enough how he finishes second back-to-back races. Hopefully he does not get DQ'd for post-race tech inspection failure. Hopefully that does not happen. But yeah, so the guy I had winning, he comes up one spot short. But hey, you know what? This is really cool to see for William Byron. Martin Truex Jr. got a top 3 finish. Kyle Larson ended up 4th. Kevin Harvick quietly ended up in 5th. But again, this is huge for Byron. This is his 2nd win in the Cup Series. His first non-super speedway win, because of course we know Daytona was his first one. And all in all, the only thing you can take away from Byron in this race is that his pit crew did not do him well earlier on. Like, there were a couple of pit stops where he lost some spots on pit road, but he ended up making up for it in the end by winning the race. And honestly, that's cool to see. Byron was one of the guys that I had on the fringe of playoff contention. Either he was going to make it in on points or he was not. I wasn't sure if he was going to get a win, and he went out and got a win. Good job, William. But Michael McDowell, Christopher Bell, and now William Byron. First 2 guys are first-time winners. Byron's now a 2-time winner. Who would have thought this was going to happen to open up the season? Seriously. Who would have thought? I mean, I'm all for it, honestly. I'm loving seeing these first-time winners and new winners. I mean, there's nothing against seeing guys like Elliott and Harvick and Logano and Hamlin all win. And trust me, we're going to see that. But again, I mean, I kind of thought Byron could have a shot to get a win at some point, but I was not expecting Christopher Bell or Michael McDowell to get a win, and they both did. Speaking of, McDowell with a top 10 finish today. That's awesome. And just, I don't know what else to say. I really don't. I mean, this is just, it's crazy to think about, and I think it's really going to shake up the points, especially later in the season when it gets time for Homestead, for the playoffs. When we go into Daytona for the regular season finale, I don't know about you, but I really think, there's going to be somebody that's going to get knocked out of playoff contention coming out of Daytona that we don't expect to get knocked out. Now, I will throw a name out there in Ryan Blaney. Yes, he could very well win it, somewhere like Talladega, but I think that if he doesn't get a win, he could be that guy that gets knocked out. William Byron's another one. I'm not going to count Cole Custer because, yes, he got a win last year, but that was, it's Cole Custer. I'm not totally convinced, but again, it's just Matt DiBenedetto, Ryan Blaney, and a couple of others. If they don't get a win, they could very well not make it in on points when we get down with Daytona at the end of the regular season. Because again, Bell got a win, McDowell got a win, Byron got a win. Byron had to win to get into the playoffs last year, when he won Daytona. So it's like, wow. I mean, it's only 3 races in, and another thing I want to touch on real quick is the performances of guys like Chase Briscoe and Bubba Wallace. Honestly, I wouldn't be giving them shit right now. All right, Briscoe, it looked really bad for him for most of this race. I'm glad he was able to rebound, but he was stuck back in 30th, 31st for a lot of this race. And Wallace was around, in the top 25 or so. Honestly, I think right now, especially with no practice and no qualifying, these guys they're trying to feel things out, and I think as we get later in the season, we're going to start seeing them really, show up, in my personal opinion. Briscoe has obviously got a big chance to win at some point. He could win Bristol Dirt. He could definitely win one of these road courses. Hell, I picked him to win the Indianapolis road course race later this year. So I think it's very much possible that he wins. And if he does, especially that late in the season, again, the playoff standings are just going to be mind-boggling this year. But with that said, as far as Bubba Wallace goes, new team, new organization, they're feeling things out right now, and I think the results are going to start showing up later in the year. Maybe they would sooner if we had practice and qualifying, but that's a what if, and you can't really go on what ifs. So we will have to see what happens in that regard. But again, I mean, from Chris Buescher winning a stage and leading a good portion of this race early on to Hendrick being up there and in the top 5 and 10, having all 4 guys finish in the top 10 in stage 1, Byron winning a stage and the race. I'm just, wow. I'm honestly shocked, but I love it, man. I really do, and I embrace it. I want to see this. I want to see other guys win, and it's gonna shake everything up once we get towards the playoffs. Again, I will say, I'll say this again. If you're somebody like Blaney, Austin Dillon, Matt DiBenedetto, you guys got to be on your toes. You're going to have to do everything you can to at least either get a win or get really consistent finishes, because they might not make the playoffs on points or at all by the time we get to Daytona. So we'll just have to see what happens there. But again, congratulations to William Byron. Big win at Homestead. Hopefully all works well with tech inspection and whatnot. If something does happen, we'll see. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. And if you did, oh wait, one other thing. If you're gonna get the race win version diecast from this race, obviously on pre-order, go ahead, or any other merch. Make sure to use code ANJJ on orders of $20 or more for free shipping, and doing so at Circuit Diecast. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe for more content like this. I will see you all next time. Peace.